going to get started. Just please make sure you have some goodies in your practice space. Yoga mat would be awesome, or something not slippery to practice on, because we will be doing some weight-bearing things on our feet and maybe some into our hands. Also have a strap available if you would, please. And maybe some water. At least where I am, it's very warm today, so I also have a fan blowing on me because heat and me are not friends. So make sure you have all the goodies. I have a bolster, but you can use firm stacked up blankets or pillows to elevate your hips a little bit when we're doing seated poses. Anything that you like that makes your practice more comfortable, and we're going to get started. Back up. When I'm doing Hatha yoga, I also really like to have a hair clip that I can take out when I'm doing laying down poses, but then put back in when I'm doing standing or like kneeling stuff. So I use these. I think these are kind of old school, these sort of banana clip style deals. But if you have something like that available, I find them super, super handy. Alrighty. Let me just get my gadgety goodness going. Just as a reminder, I don't play music during these live classes, so you're welcome to play your own stuff. And just turn up the volume on my voice. And we're going to get going. So as usual, I enjoy beginning my classes with a bit of centering and like a mini shavasana. For some people, it's too jarring to go from like your busy day right into laying down. So if that's not your practice today, please feel free to sit up for this opening shavasana. Or if you have a couch nearby, you want to just kind of lounge in and relax. Anything that will just allow you to get more comfortable and transition into your practice. So anything you like, but I'm going to start lying down and begin with some sort of centering and breath work. Hey, monkey. I've got doggies here just like hanging out with me. I'm going to set you off camera a little bit. Okay. So when you're setting yourself up for your beginning centering, take the time. I like to sort of roll my knees side to side and settle my hips and my back a little bit. My body prefers that when I'm lying on a hard surface like this, that my knees are bent or I have something padding my knees. So today, I'm just going to keep my knees bent and bring my feet flat to the mat. And take my feet a little wider than my knees and bring my knees together. And I really enjoy the space that creates in my lower back. But you choose a position to start out in that works for you. So I'm just going to continue to settle my body, and I invite you to do the same with yours. Maybe just notice any place else that you can settle. I enjoy rolling my shoulders back to create a little space for my chest. And I like turning my hands palms up and taking my hands a little bit away from my body. But as you get settled in whatever shape you've chosen, take the time to notice how you can invite a little bit more space into and around your body. How you could perhaps take up a little more room. Maybe that means you spread out a little more. Or maybe it means that you allow your body to soften and to melt into the floor. So let's just let the eyes softly close or the gaze soften and bring our attention to our breath. And so this first beginning of our practice, when we're just beginning to notice the breath, just try to notice it without changing anything. And so the same way that we allow the body to settle, we also allow the breath to settle into what's going to be a comfortable but nourishing depth and rhythm. And with every breath, just continue to allow your body to settle, to maybe sink in or get a little heavier. And also begin to allow your mind to settle. And we often think we have to just sort of instruct the mind to stop thinking. But instead, what I'd like you to do is to notice the very, very tiniest of pauses in between every single thought. And just notice those pauses, those transitions, and let the thoughts come and go. Watching your breath and watching your thoughts. And now begin to notice all the places in your body where you might be holding any tension. Notice what's happening in your jaw, your neck, and your shoulders. Notice what's happening in your hips, your belly, your forehead, and the muscles around your eyes. And finally, in the center of each palm, imagine you felt just a little pool of warmth and relaxation. Just two small pools of warmth and relaxation in the center of each palm. And as you breathe, just begin to draw that sensation of warmth and relaxation up your wrists, into your forearms and elbows and upper arms and your shoulders. Draw it down your body into your hips and belly and back, into your legs, down to your toes, and up again from the chest and shoulders into your neck and jaw, and around to your temples, back along your scalp. And please take 3 slow, deep breaths here into this present moment. When you're ready, just begin to invite some small movements in the fingers or toes, wrists, or ankles. And if you're in a position to do this without pressuring your neck uncomfortably, just a gentle turn of your chin over each shoulder, just to gently wake your neck. And I like to, from here, yawn, stretch, maybe take the arms and legs long, and then maybe take that reverse and bring the body in close for a big hug. So maybe I bring one knee in and then the other, rock on the back side to side a little, whatever you like. And so from here, when you're ready, I'd like you to just bring your feet down, and we're going to find that strap or belt that we had handy. So we want to have this within reach. So make sure you've got one, make sure it's within reach. And we're just going to start with some movement in the hips, and then we're going to get into some stuff happening in the core and the belly and the legs. So we want to make sure the upper body is comfortable. So just really anchor your shoulders back. And I like to sort of walk each shoulder blade underneath my body a little. So it's like your shoulder blades are almost like hands, and they tend to sort of pull out to the sides a little, especially when we do a lot of computer work. So what you want to do is you want to take those hands and flatten them out and bring them closer together so that your shoulders in the front open up. And so from here, let's just bring our attention to the knees and the hips and the belly. Keep it all really soft. Take a nice big inhale. And as you exhale, just drop your knees gently to the right. It doesn't matter how far over they go. We keep both shoulders heavy and rooted. With your next inhale, just bring the knees back up to center. And with your next exhale, walk or rock them over to the left. We're going to flow with the breath. So inhale, center. Exhale, knees to the right. Inhale, center. And exhale, knees to the left. And I really enjoy letting my hands very lightly rest on my belly as I move side to side. And I can kind of feel my belly slide under my hands. And it just brings some connection to that part of my body. Inhale, center. Exhale to the side. Try to let the breath lead the movement. So I'm going to do one more to the left, so please join me in. With this next one to the left, that will be our last one to the left. And we'll inhale to center, so get there when you get there, no big rush. And again, settle your back, the back of your hips, and your actual back body into the mat. So now that we've sort of opened and relaxed the hips and connected with the breath, I want to get into something a little bit different. So we're going to bring the feet in right underneath the knees. And so for some of us, the feet will inch in closer. For some, the feet are going to inch forward. That part doesn't matter, but have your feet and your knees a comfortable distance apart. They can be wide if that's what feels natural and comfortable in your body, but try to think about sending the feet to point straight forward. So we want to think even here about correcting sort of that tight outer hip business that takes our feet wide. Bring the feet to be parallel. Perfect. So now what I want you to do is just connect to this feeling of the belly. And when we activate in the core, we tend to over-grip, over-tighten. So think of a soft bit of drawing in, and even a little bit of drawing in and up from the pelvic floor. So almost like you're pulling in and up and hugging in really softly. And with your next breath, just lift your right knee up until it's right over the hip, so that will lift your foot away from the floor. And then raise your right foot, your right heel, until your shin is roughly parallel. And I have no mirror here, so I'm going by feel. Pull the toes back a little bit. And just notice what's happening. So we should feel some work in the hip flexor. We might feel a little bit of action in the belly. And so notice what you're feeling. Try to keep it soft without over gripping, but also a little bit strong. So we're just noticing this, and we're breathing still as we're activating all of this stuff in the center of the body. And with your next exhale, what I want you to do is lower your foot as if you were going to put it on the floor, but just not quite get it all the way there. And then lift it back up. And notice again what's happening through the leg, the quads here, the hip flexor. Notice what you're feeling. And again, we'll lower down. And one more time, we're going to lift it up. Nice. Yes. Good. Last moment. And then exhale, just lower it down and let your hips and your legs settle. And just notice the difference between the two sides. So we sort of activated this side and the core of the body. So notice that. And then again, thinking of that drawing in from the pelvic floor and a little bit of hugging in at the belly. And we're going to slowly lift into the other side. So first we just bring the knee over the hip. And then we're going to lift the heel so the shin is roughly parallel to the floor. And again, go by feel. You'll know if the knee is too far in because you won't feel anything happening or as much things happening in the front of the hip. For more challenge, press the knee forward a little bit. And again, activate. Think about being strong but also soft. Notice what you're feeling. If anything starts to cramp up, then you bring your foot down and you come and rejoin when your leg is softened a little bit. So we're going to move again with the breath. So as you exhale, let's slowly lower that foot down until it almost but doesn't quite touch or very lightly touches. And then we're going to lift it back up and just notice the heat and the activity through the leg, the front of the hip. I'm going to do that a second time. So slowly lower it down and raise it back up. You should feel some stuff. Notice where you're creating tension elsewhere in the body. See if you can keep it right here in the core. And then very slowly lower that leg down. Sink heavy into feet, hips, and back, and just notice how you feel. Maybe a couple gentle rocks from side to side. Nice. So again, thinking about the core, we're going to come back to that same sort of feeling, but we're going to activate just a little tiny bit more in the belly. And so we're not even getting to half of how hard we can pull the belly in. We want to go 25, 30% maybe, right? So we're going to come to the right side. So bring the right knee in, lift the right foot. Settle. Notice what it feels like. See how my foot's kind of high? I can feel that. So I'm going to bring it in a little lower for a little more challenge. Bringing in that lift from the pelvic floor, so this direction. And then hugging your belly in. Add the other leg, and you might want to place your palms down beside you for a little bit of leverage. Yes, good. So feel both legs. Now if your thighs are pushing the legs apart, take the legs wider. You can just stay here or take a big inhale. And as you exhale, lower your legs to the right a little bit. Yes, breathe in, bring it back to center. And lower it to the left a little bit. Back to center. Notice the belly. Back to the right. Back to center. And back to the left. Come back to center. Pause. Maybe challenge yourself with just a little press forward of your right leg before you bring it down. And then a little press forward of your left leg. And then bring it down. It doesn't have to be pretty. And then let's release all of that work. So the part of the body that seems to work really hard during that is the front of the hips, belly, maybe even you felt some pull in the low back. We want to keep it more to the core, but some of us will still feel some stuff back there. I really enjoy, after a pose like that, bringing the knees in, giving it a squeeze, and then doing the same thing on the second side. Oh, nice. So just notice anything you're feeling in through here. And we're going to move into the legs again. So this next bit, you're going to want to lasso your right foot with that midway point of your strap. So there's lots of ways to do this. Let it be awkward. If you need to roll over to one side, come all the way up and then hook the foot, do it that way. I like to go sort of strap to the front of my knee, shimmy it down, and then sort of wiggle it around from there. But that doesn't always work. So you're going to choose what works best for you. Where we want to end up is with the halfway point of the strap around the bottom of the foot. We're going to hold the strap so that the fingers wrap under, thumb points up, and then relax the thumb down to the strap. Elbows are going to anchor back to the mat. So take your time and find your way into this. Think again of your pelvic floor, a little bit of drawing in, just a little bit, just a little drawing in and up. Take a big inhale. And as you exhale, you're going to let the strap slide between your hands as you press your foot forward along the floor. And then hold the strap. Squeeze the top of your thigh. So a little bit of engagement across the top of your thigh. Reach your heel away and start to take the leg up. And you're going to keep taking the leg up until you start to feel a little stretch in the hamstrings. And then you're going to pause and check in. So I'm not feeling it yet. I'm pretty open in the hamstrings. I'm going to keep going. When you feel it, I want you to notice that it's really easy to go too far and then the leg sort of rebels. So don't go to your absolute limit here. Stay at about 80%, maybe 85%. You want to feel some sensation in the back of the leg. And then slide your hands back down the strap and root your elbows. Or play with the idea of taking your hands up higher, dangling your arms down for a little traction. That might deepen the stretch too much. So we're settling into this, and we want to root the thigh bone down deep into the hip. If your knee is bent here, you've gone a little too far, take the foot more forward. Okay? Find your spot. Take another big inhale. Take both straps in your right hand on both sides. As you exhale, take that leg out to the right. Keep the left hip and the left back of the hip anchored in. And with your next inhale, again, pelvic floor and belly. Bring the leg back up. Switch hands. Big inhale. Exhale, take the leg to the left a little tiny bit, maybe like a couple of inches. No further than your left shoulder. One more breath here. And then inhale to center. Hold both ends. And as you exhale, we're going to send the foot forward and the leg nice and straight. All the way down to the mat. And this is where it helps to have a really long strap. If it doesn't quite get there, you can let go when it feels right. Oh. And then as the foot is along the floor, reach the heel away and pull back on the strap a little, and you might get a really nice calf stretch. 2 breaths. And here's a little trick. With this leg long, stretch out the left side alongside it and slip it into the strap at the same time. But also notice how the 2 sides don't quite feel the same. Slip your right foot out of the strap. Bring that right foot back to the floor, right knee bent again. That gives you a firm anchor without overpressuring the low back. And then when you're ready, we're going to come back to bent knee here. So bring in that foot that you've lassoed. Same thing here. You want to have the fingers wrapping underneath and your thumbs up. And I sort of play with how far down to hold so it feels like I can really hold firmly and elbows back. So settle the back of your head into the floor. Notice that the chin is lifting up and just draw it down. Nice. So we're connecting with the belly. Notice this right leg wants to wing out sometimes, so keep it right pointed up at the ceiling. Take a nice big inhale. Draw that core in very softly, pelvic floor in, and as you exhale, send the leg forward, right along the floor. Yes. And then reach the heel away, squeeze the top of the left thigh a little bit to activate your quadriceps, and then start to take the leg up slow. And find out where you start to feel the back of the leg start to feel a stretch. If you're quite open, you won't feel it until you get quite high. But for a lot of people, their legs are very tight. You're going to feel this much lower down. And then adjust your grip on the strap. Either elbows down, anchored in, or especially if your leg's up high, it might feel nice to take the hands up, dangle the arms down so shoulders stay soft. Activate the toes a little. Really pull down the thigh bone into the hip socket. If your hands get a little crampy, it's totally fine to wrap the strap around your hands so you can let the strap do some of the work. Notice your breath and notice that the pelvic floor has softened. Think about this sort of action of this is the pelvic floor and we want to draw it in this direction. So think about that sensation and draw it in a little bit. Yes. Good. So when we get ready to move with this, you're going to want to unloop your hands. Take the strap in your left hand, release your right hand down, take a nice big inhale. Keep a little bit of action in the core, and as you exhale, take the leg out to the left, a little or a lot. Notice what's happening on the right side. So right side sometimes counterbalances by winging out. Keep that foot firm, knee up. Yes. And just notice what this feels like for the inner thigh, for the core. Keep the back of the right hip pressed down. Good. With your next inhale, bring the leg to center. We're going to switch sides. Big inhale. Exhale, take it over a little bit. Usually just a couple inches. If the foot passes the shoulder, it's too far. Sometimes people like to get really into this, and then it's all in the back, and we want to keep it right in the leg. Feeling for sensation along the outer left calf, outer left thigh, outer left hip. Maybe still in the hamstrings, the back of the thigh. Last moment here. Inhale to center. Separate, so you're holding both sides of your strap or belt. Take a big breath in, and as you breathe out, send the leg forward. Reach away with the heel. Oh. Wiggle the strap free, set it aside. Give everything a little shake, a shimmy. Maybe you want to come back to hugging the legs in, rocking on your back side to side. When you're ready, come all the way over. First to a seat if you need to, like me, grab a hair clip. And then we're going to be making our way to hands and knees for some cat-cow breath. A little bit more movement. So take a moment if you need to here just to take a sip of water. Get your hair out of your way. The thing about practice, it looks different than a studio class, right? We get to experiment and play on our mat. So let yourself be in your space and do this your way, right? So cat-cow is simple. We want to get into the back body. Hands and knees. Lots of space. Settle in. And when you're ready, just inhale, tip the tailbone up, stretch the belly, lift the back of the head. Exhale, curl it under. Belly to spine, chin to chest, upper back to sky. Back and forth. Inhale, we open the front of the body. And exhale, open the back body. A few more of these at your own pace. Last time. And inhale to neutral spine. And we're just going to grab some blocks if you have them, books, or you can just place your hands back at the front of the mat. We're going to be moving into some lunge work, so we want to get into the front of the hips a little bit. Walk your blocks over to the left. Bring your right foot forward. Bring your blocks or your hands forward again. Both hands inside the leg or one hand outside. Doesn't matter whether you're on fists or blocks or hands. But see how my leg is not quite fully bent? Sink in. So now my knee moves over my ankle. And if I'm like, whoa, that's too much for that back hip, then I just inch this foot back a little, right? Try to avoid being right up and down on the back knee. So I like to use blocks to bring the floor closer. You can do the same thing with a couple pieces of polished sanded wood. You could do it with books, preferably of the same thickness, or a book that you're sharing across both hands if it's big. So now we're going to flow with the breath. Now for this, I like to have my hands up quite high to give my body some space. If you don't have blocks and you're using the floor, it's a little trickier. You can still do it, but it's going to require a little more focus and balance. And we want to get the belly and the thigh sort of happy together. So if you've got some connection between belly and thigh, draw the belly inside. So draw it to the left. Come back to your lunge. And then your hands might have an easier time just lightly touching the floor. So I'm going to use the blocks. Nice. With our next inhale, we're going to press the right foot forward, walk the blocks back or come up onto the top of the thigh and start to straighten that front leg. And when you're comfortable, you're going to lift the toes. If you have a wall next to you or a chair to put a hand on, that's also helpful. And here we're going to lift the heart. And if your body likes it, okay, you can do this folded forward. That might be too much for the back of the leg. You choose. And then we're going to exhale, move back into the lunge, and then we're going to flow with this. So exhale forward. We're going to flow 4 times. So inhale, come back. Exhale forward with the knee. Inhale back. Exhale forward. Inhale back. Exhale forward. I think this is the 4th time. Inhale back. And exhale forward. Nice. We're going to come out of this now. Give our left hip a little break. Walk the blocks over to the left or your hands over to the left. Shift the leg back. Switch sides. So blocks or hands to the right. Left leg forward. So first things first, we're just going to explore our lunge. So square your hips to the front. Blocks or hands inside or outside. Keep the knee pointed straight forward and sink into your lunge. Doesn't matter how far forward you go. What matters is you find a level of lunge that feels nice in your body, that feels appropriate in your body. Remember, if you don't have blocks, but the floor seems really far, you can try fists. This is also a nice break for the wrists sometimes. Try to soften your jaw, neck, and shoulders. Last moment, just in the lunge. Nice. Then we want to make the hip and the knee and the belly all happy. So come up, pull the belly inside, square the hips again. One hand on either side is a little easier for this, or you can balance, hand light touch on the top of the thigh. So we're going to start to move. First, we're going to come back into our first stretch back. Inhale, come back. Lift the toes, decide what level feels right on this side. So this first one is just to feel it out. And now we're going to flow. Exhale, sink in. And inhale, come back for our first one. Exhale, sink forward. Inhale, take it back for our second one. Exhale, sink forward. Inhale, come back for our third one. And exhale, sink forward. And last time coming back. And exhale, sink forward. Nice. Move the blocks over to the side or your hands over to the side. Get that left leg back. Set the blocks aside for now. And let's just move into a real gentle child. So knees wide, toes together, sink hips back. If you hate this pose, you never have to do this pose. Same as all the poses, really. But I want you to feel your body and decide. If you can find a version of this that feels nice, it usually feels really nice. Let's just take 3 breaths. If you hate this, you can just sit comfortably or lay on your belly. Nice. So slowly press your way up. So we're doing a little bit more work on the knees today. If your knees are feeling a little bit sensitive, then add a little extra padding, maybe a blanket or a pillow under your left knee. So we're going to be doing this. I'll show you so I can face you. Again, I'm going to have blocks handy because they're useful. You may or may not need them, so come to nice, tall, standing on your knees. If you're on hard floor or your mat's really thin, probably you're going to want a pillow under this left knee. So we're going to take the right leg out to the right, to the side. Yep. And it might feel a little funky, might feel a little awkward. So change where your foot is pointing or lift the outer edge of your foot until you find a position that feels stable and not too pinchy in this top hip. If it's too pinchy, you might need to scooch this foot forward a little bit. And suddenly for me, that took all the pinch away. For some people, you might want it back a little. You might need it out a little further. You want to ideally be standing straight on top of the left knee. Pillow or blanket under it's totally cool. Okay? If you hate this, you could do all of this same stuff standing. You just won't be doing the leg portion. You'll be doing the arm portion with us. Okay? So, we're going to be moving to the left first. So one hand lightly rests on the top of your right thigh, outer right thigh. Left hand is just beside you. Okay? Take a nice big inhale. As you exhale, I want you to find the floor with your left hand, and your foot might come in a little bit. So you're going to come all the way down to the hand, to fingertips, to fist, or to a block. And then just bring your right hand to your hip and open your shoulder to see what that feels like. So this is going to be part one of a little flow. It's just moving to the side. And we're going to add, optionally, we're going to add a top arm. So I'm going to bring this arm forward, the right arm, sweep it up and over, open the heart. Nice. And now I'm going to draw in the belly. So I'd like you to join me. Draw in the core. Inhale, come all the way up. Lift yourself up. And as you exhale, we're going to lightly move to the other side. So light touch to the leg. Left arm up and over. Or just left arm to your hip. And we're going to flow. So inhale. Let's come to the left. Yes. And then exhale. We're going to come up. And to the side. Long exhale, long inhale. Now, if you need to take a full breath to one side and a full breath to the other side, do that. So there's a bit of challenge to our balance here. There's a lot of opening into various parts of the body, and there's some core work. So we're going to do 2 more of these. So inhale to the left. Exhale, or full breath, up and to the right. Doesn't matter how deep you go. Inhale and exhale. Some of these flows just feel really graceful to me after doing them for a long time, and I love exploring these types of movement. Last time to the right. Nice. Now come all the way up. Bring the left arm down, and for heaven's sake, come forward and back to either sitting on your bum, which is probably going to feel the nicest, sitting back on your heels, or laying on your belly, or laying on your back. We're just going to take about 4 or 5 breaths to reset. Make sure the knees are happy. So kneeling feels great in my body for a short time, so I'm going to hang up here. What feels good in your body? Don't be afraid of an audible breath. You're in your own space. Sometimes that feels just wonderful. Last moment. When you're ready to shake it out, come up from your seat or lie on your belly. We're going to come back to the knees. This time you're going to want to add extra padding to your right knee, particularly if knees are sensitive. Okay. I'm going to bring my block over to the right side to about where I think I'm going to need it. Again, if you have a book, you could even use a couple folded blankets to bring the floor up higher. I like to move my flowy pants out of the way because I feel like they're going to catch. We're going to move our weight over to the right knee and send the left leg out. And this side might be a little different. Maybe this side's happier if the foot points out a little. Maybe this side's happier with the outer edge. It might not match the first side. So feel it out. We want to get away from any pinching here. And the pinching you might feel here, that's bones. It's not your flexibility that determines that. So don't judge yourself. Just find a spot that feels like it's okay, like it's pretty stable. Okay. So we're going to explore first, and then we'll move into our flow. So first, up nice and tall. And then as you exhale, we're just going to bring the right hand over, fingertips or fist or palm to a block. I'm noticing on this side I want to be a little higher. And then hand to hip, we're just going to explore opening the heart. And this opening we want to keep even when we add the arm to this pose. Back toes behind your right leg might be tucked or flat, whatever makes you feel more stable. So I'm going to add the arm now, sweeping it up and over. Open the heart. Feels so good. Just notice this. Feel it out so your muscles will remember a little bit what this felt like. And now we're going to come up. And we're going to feel out the second side. So there's this moment where the core sort of kicks in and draws us up. And that's really great for the belly, really great for the core. We're going to feel out the other side of this pose. Now, what's really important here, I've got hypermobile knees. I'm not going to press, there's something on my leg, I'm not going to press on the side of the knee. That's really not great for your knee at all, really quite bad. So light touch on the thigh, light touch on the side of the calf. Not a lot of weight, so you are using core and balance. With your next inhale, come up. We're going to begin to flow. So find your way into the side with your right hand down. Open your shoulder. Big breath in. Exhale, hug the belly in, come all the way over. Inhale, come up and find your way back. That was our first one. This is our second one. And back. Big breath in. And our third one. Inhale to the right. And our fourth one. And inhale to the right. Nice. Exhale. And power yourself up. Draw the belly in with an inhale. And come off of that leg. Find your way into your rest. So sitting on your bum, sitting on your feet. I love kneeling for short periods of time. Long periods of time, my legs start to fall asleep. Feel it out. I'm going to sit up on my toes for a little foot stretch because that feels good to me today. But hang out where you're going to like to be for about 4 or 5 breaths. Soften any tension that's lingering in your body. If your wrists are feeling a little compressed from moving from side to side, roll out your wrist. A couple more breaths. Whatever position you choose to be in right now is perfect, as long as you're comfortable. Last moment. And then we're going to find our way back to hands and knees ever so briefly so we can explore a little bit of flow. So hands and knees. I'm going to show you option number 1 for what we're going to do next. Option number 1 is a prep for a down dog called Happy Puppy or Extended Puppy. Hands come forward. Hips over the knees, so not forward and not back. And then begin to take the arms wide enough. Keep your elbows lifted. Begin to tip your tailbone up. Bring your belly down, your chest down, your forehead down, but keep your hands spread out. Melt your heart. Keep your elbows lifted. So it's not a rest. It's not child's pose. It's work. Feel the work in the body. Notice what it feels like. This will strengthen the parts of the body needed for down dog. One more breath. Less is okay. And then bring one elbow down and then the next. Interlace your fingers. So that first one, extended puppy, is option 1. Option 2 is dolphin pose. So this one is elbows out of the shoulders so that your hands can touch. Interlace your fingers, squeeze your palms together. Tuck your toes under. Lift your belly up towards your spine and take your hips up into the air. Maybe walk your feet in. Maybe stretch your heels back a little with knees bent for a calf stretch. Melt your heart. If you're trying this and hating it, it's okay. You can come out. And then when you're ready, slowly lower your knees. Take a little rest. And option number 3 is downward facing dog. So we have Happy Puppy, low to the ground, easier on the wrists, less body weight supported. Dolphin, which is a lot of body weight, but it's on your forearms and your elbows, not your hands. And down dog, which is hands supported. So you want to spread out the fingers, second fingers point straight forward, tuck your toes. We're experimenting only, so don't hold it too long. We're going to hug the belly in, lift the hips, lots of bend in the knees, send the butt way in the air, melt your heart, and maybe send the heels back a little bit. But we don't care about straight legs in this pose. It doesn't matter. What matters is melting the heart, opening the shoulders, and of course your breath. Feel this out. And when you feel like you've had a moment to notice what it feels like in your body, come down. And now everybody take a rest. I'm going to lay on my belly. You choose your rest. Whew. Maybe wiggle out your little, maybe sit on your butt. Maybe you want to do a child's pose. Take a moment just to reflect on those 3 options. And I want you to think about it for a moment because we are going to experiment in a second with those poses, but also because I want you to feel empowered to use any of those if you're ever in a practice or a class and downward facing dog is cued. Those are all great options. Even in the middle of a crowded class, your teacher will get it. Okay, so if you ever go to a group class, those are awesome options. So take then, let's say 2 more big breaths of rest. Based on how you felt in those 3 poses, I want you to now pick. And maybe you only played with 1 or 2. Maybe you knew right away which was the right one. But I want you to choose 1 to explore. And you're going to explore it in whatever way feels good to you. You're going to get into the pose, hold it for about 1 to 5 breaths. That means 1 breath is awesome, 5 breaths is awesome, but let's not go more than that. Okay, so anywhere in between there, but you can experiment. And when you experiment with the pose, you can experiment with it in a still way, or you can move with it a little bit. So choose the pose and find your way into it, and notice and count your breath as you notice how your body feels. So I'm going to do this in downward facing dog because that felt good today in my body. And in my down dog, I enjoy exploring a little movement. Maybe I pedal the feet. Maybe you're in happy puppy and you want to just move the upper body from side to side and see what that feels like. Or fold the heart forward and then back out. Maybe you're in dolphin pose and you want to practice walking the feet in or back. And maybe you just want to get into a shape, settle into it, plug in the various parts of the body, and just notice what it feels like. Maybe you could refine it while you're in it, and maybe you're already out of it, and that's super cool. Because you're honoring your body. You're coming out when your body's like, yeah, I'm done. And remember, no more than 5 of your breaths. Then when you're ready, you're going to start to find your way down again, or back, or out. And I really enjoy coming all the way down to my belly after a down dog. So that's where I'm going to go, but you choose where you want to rest. And if you're on your belly, maybe stack both hands, rest your forehead. Maybe wiggle your hips a little side to side. Let your body sort of integrate and notice what it just did. And if you're not already on your belly, then please come down to your belly now. When I set myself up on my belly for any kind of movement, practice, or work, I like to flatten out the hollows at the front of each hip. So I do that by lifting a knee and just sliding it back. So it's very subtle, but it flattens out this spot right here at the front of the hip. So I do that on both sides. And then settle in. So let's begin by just taking the tops of the feet down and trying to spread out the toes a little bit. And when you spread out the toes, so imagine my fingers on my toes. When you spread them out, drag them in a little bit. It's almost like you're curling them, just a tiny bit. And if your feet rebel against that, then take a break and maybe do it a little differently. But that's what we want to do, is sort of anchor the toes in. And when you do that, you feel your legs activate a little bit. We're going to bring one hand and then the other right underneath the shoulders. And so not winging the elbows out, but hugging them in. Look right down at your mat. And for this, the temptation is to turn your head to the side. Try to keep your gaze down. Your chin tucked just a little. And then pull your hands back very, very lightly without moving them on the mat. So glue them to the mat, pull back a little. And as you pull back your hands, your chest comes forward a little, and it's tiny. But then draw your shoulder blades together on your back. Press into the tops of the feet, the backs of the toes, the tops of the toes. And then press your pelvis down into the mat. And start to draw your heart forward and lift it up, but keep your hands sort of light on the mat. And this is just a little baby cobra pose, but it's a really powerful pose. Keep opening your heart. Try to keep the back of your neck long. One more big breath. With your exhale, lower down. And we're going to flow. So next inhale, lift up. Draw the heart forward. And exhale, fold down. Inhale, lift up. Draw the heart forward. And exhale, lower down. Inhale, open, and exhale. Good. Inhale. And exhale, fold your hands or your forearms, rest your forehead, wiggle your hips, soften it out. So when you're ready, bring your hands back underneath you. Same idea, hug the elbows in, second fingers point straight forward. We're not actually putting a lot of pressure into the wrists. You want to keep the hands into the mat, but light, so you're not pressing really, really hard. But for this next version of this pose, we're going to flow a little bit with a little bit more upper body strength, a little bit more weight into the hands. So draw the shoulder blades back. With your next inhale, press in, draw the heart forward, just like we've been doing, and then add just a little bit of hands. And then exhale, fold. And 3 more, just like that. Inhale, lift up, and then add a little bit of hands. Exhale, lower down. Twice more. Inhale, just like we've been doing, and then add a little bit. Exhale. Last time. Inhale. And exhale. Take your hands, stack them up, wiggle it out. Take a couple breaths. And so this last version of Cobra that we're going to do before we move into a slightly different shape is called Strange or Awkward Cobra. And so it's going to require you to do some stuff your body might not be used to doing. So if it's really challenging or it hurts in any way, I want you to skip it. But experiment and see what it feels like before you decide. Because looking at it can be a little weird, but just feel it out. So we're going to play with what I call Spider-Man hands. This is the part that if something's going to feel weird, it's going to be that. So Spider-Man hands are like pads of the fingers down, but the palm is lifted, and you're really pressing into the base of each fingertip. Okay? So you're going to do that on both sides, just where your hands were. Draw the elbows back, but then you're going to walk your hands off the mat to either side. So press into the fingers. Second fingers are still roughly forward. So same sort of hand position, just drawn in a little bit. Experiment with putting some weight into the fingers, drawing the elbows back. You may only lift up a tiny bit, but lift the heart, draw it forward. See what it feels like to put weight into this part of the hands. If it feels really good, you might go, whoa, that feels amazing. Or you might get partway into it and go, my fingers are not meant to do that. So play with it. And then slowly come down. If that wasn't for you, then take a rest. If you were enjoying playing with it, then keep the fingers a little bit light, and we're going to flow with the breath. So fingers, engage. And now, inhale, draw the heart forward, lift up. And exhale, come down. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, flow down. 2 more. Inhale, only if you're enjoying it. Exhale. And last time. Inhale. And exhale. Oh, so good. Take a rest. Maybe you want to scrunch up your hands and release the tension from your fingers. Wiggle out your hips. So we're going to finish our practice with a long hold in a restorative yoga pose. So I'm going to give you 2 options for setup. One is to elevate the legs, and the other one is sort of a supported child's pose. If you love, love, love child's pose, then you're going to like that one probably a fair amount. But if you already don't love child's pose, the restorative version isn't so much better that you're going to suddenly fall in love with it. You might, but go with which of these 2 poses you think is going to be the most relaxing for you in this moment. So I'm going to show you both. To elevate the legs, all you're going to do is make a whole big pile of stuff, under about where your calves would be. So pillows, blankets, anything you want. And you're just gonna take your hair clip out. Build your pile, elevate your legs, and lie back. Oh, knees can turn out, feet can turn out, whatever you like. For the child's pose one, you're gonna have the same kind of pile. For this, I like to get my big giant bolster. But you can also just make a pile like we just did with pillows and blankets, turn them this direction. I'm gonna grab my giant bolster. I love this pose. So a nice big pile in front of you, knees wide, bolster in close. And just sort of pour yourself forward. This probably looks familiar because I think it's my YouTube thumbnail. But whatever you like, this pose or just laying on your back with your legs elevated. And even this one sometimes needs more. So I'm going to take a block and I'm going to elevate the front of my bolster so it's a little bit higher, a little bit cozier. And then I'm going to fold it. So we're going to be here for a good amount of time. And if at any point during the time that we're here you're like, nah man, I'm done. That's cool. Just gently come up. Close or seal your practice however you like. And we'll see you again in the next practice. But if you enjoy this, we'll be here for about 5 minutes. And as you settle in, let yourself be extraordinarily picky about the position you're in. If something about it isn't working, change it. And remember, if you can give yourself even 1% more comfort here, totally worth it. Perfect. And begin to bring your attention back to your breath. Notice the rhythm of your breath. Notice the texture. Notice the way your body's feeling in this moment. And notice the effects of your yoga practice. The places in your body that feel warm, or worked, or activated, or opened up. Notice how you feel just generally right now, especially as compared to how you felt when you began today. Notice all the places in the body that open when you breathe in. And notice all the places in your body that soften and let go as you breathe out. take one last deep breath in your relaxation pose. When you're ready, start to move a little bit, maybe hands or feet, maybe fingers or toes. When it's time to come up from whatever pose you've been in, take your time, use your muscles to help you up and out. Try not to rush, it's really easy to move quickly. We're just going to find our way back to a comfortable, tall seat. So any way you want to sit, it's totally cool. Find your way up or back or out into a seat. When you get there, just settle your sitting bones into the floor. Take your shoulders over your hips. Move your head, your neck around a little bit. And sit up really tall. Take a nice big inhale. As you exhale, bow your head. Bring your hands, palms together at the center of your heart. Closing tonight's practice with deep gratitude for ourselves for making this time for self-care. Gratitude for this practice of yoga and for each other. Namaste. Thank you again so much for joining me for this live practice. I really, really enjoy sharing this with all of you. And as always, if you have questions or requests, please send me an email at lisa@fatyogini.com or message me on Facebook. We have some September dates booked already. The Tuesday classes are up and registerable now, and probably some Sundays are coming. Stay tuned for those. But for sure, there's some Tuesdays upcoming in September. And for August, our last class is next Tuesday. So there is no class this coming Sunday. Next Tuesday evening, Pacific time, there is a class at 6 o'clock. So please send me your feedback, your questions, your requests. I will continue to tailor this to be exactly what you need in this moment. So anything you want to work on or any particular poses you really love or want to play with or learn, hit me up. I can make it all accessible. It's all good. So I hope to see you guys again soon. Have a great rest of your day, evening, or night. And I'll see you again later. Bye!